Omni-Man is one of the most popular and powerful characters from the Invincible show, and is the main reason for the first season of the show being so goddamn good. He was strong enough to take down the Guardians of the Globe, and really the rest of humanity, since there was nobody at the end of season 1 who could have stood a chance against him, seeing as what he did to Mark. And even within season 2, with the help of Mark, he was powerful enough to take down many Viltrumites sent to capture him due to him abandoning his post on Earth. So, being that he is so powerful, I wanted to make a video dedicated to him to find out quantitatively how strong he actually is. So, come with me and let us look at Nolan, interpret the story, and do some calculations to find out what Omni-Man is really capable of. This video will have spoilers for the comics, since it has not been animated yet, so spoiler warning right now for anyone who is concerned. But before we begin, please make sure to like and subscribe, as that would mean a lot to me, and comment below what you'd like to see next. Omni-Man, real name Nolan Grayson, is a human-looking individual, however he is anything but human. Nolan is a Viltrumite from the planet Viltrum, who was sent to Earth to single-handedly kill off the strongest foes so that Earth could be seamlessly assimilated to the Viltrum Empire. Throughout Nolan's life, he had managed to survive 2 of the worst events recorded in Viltrumite history. The first being the Great Purge held on Viltrum, such that the weakest members of the society would be killed. This purge killed off half of the entire population of Viltrumites, such that the only ones remaining were the fittest. And one of these individuals was Nolan himself. He also managed to avoid the Scourge virus, which thinned the remaining population even more, thus creating a need to conquer other planets and reproduce with their inhabitants. Nolan, being one of the strongest Viltrumites, was entrusted to take care of Earth himself, as the Viltrumites believed he could do it single-handedly, and rightfully so. Nolan, being a Viltrumite, gives him many abilities and advantages associated with that race of aliens, which makes him a tough SOB. Viltrumites are capable of flight, which allows him to have an aerial advantage by taking to the skies, as well as traveling large distances, not only on planets, but within space. He has extraordinary senses, allowing him to see, smell, and hear better than any human. He is so proficient he can even tell when people have entered his home, although this does give him a weakness to high frequencies, as it messes with his equilibrium. He has extremely high stamina, able to physically exert himself for large periods of time, perhaps even for the span of weeks, and continue to function properly. With this, he can also hold his breath for weeks on end, allowing him to fly through space without needing to carry any oxygen on his person or have to stop for oxygen. He also has a healing factor, able to survive normally lethal attacks, although he does not have the Wolverine type of healing factor, which heals him instantly. His healing still takes time, however, even the worst types of damage, which would permanently paralyze a human, he can heal from within a matter of days. And the most OP innate ability he has are smart atoms. Smart atoms, unlike normal atoms, do not have a rigid atomic structure, but rather they are adaptable. This quality allows them to transform their atomic structure to be able to withstand environments which originally they would not have been able to. With his abilities out the way, let us get to more substantive properties such as his strength. How hard can Omni-Man hit? Later in the comic series, the strongest feat we've seen Nolan do, with the aid of Mark and Thaddeus, was to destroy the planet Viltrum. With this in mind, all we need to do is find out how much energy it would take to do this and apply it to Nolan. However, this is easier said than done. The first issue we run into is that we don't know the size or mass of Viltrum. The only thing we know is that it has a gravity 1.25 times more than Earth's, but that doesn't really give us much. So we are going to have to make some assumptions. The first assumption is that we are going to fill in the planet of Viltrum for the planet of Earth, since there is no indication that they are significantly different. The second assumption we are going to make is that Nolan, Mark, and Thaddeus all equally aid in the process of destroying the planet, rather than arbitrarily giving usefulness percentages. With this in mind, let us calculate the energy it would require to destroy the Earth. In order to destroy a celestial body, you need to overcome the gravitational binding energy of that body. Solving for that with the known constants of Earth, we can see that the total energy would be 2.24 times 10 to the 32 joules of energy. Dividing that by 3 since they all aided equally, Nolan would have to produce 7.47 times 10 to the 31 joules of energy with his own strength. Finding Nolan's speed is a little more difficult and quite frankly controversial due to it being quite tricky. First, it is important to note that Nolan's max travel speed does not equate to his fighting speed, and this is mainly due to acceleration. It takes Viltrumites time in order to reach their max speed. However, in combat, they need rapid movements and accelerations. This is why Nolan could travel many light years in space in only a week's time, but couldn't catch Cecil when he was teleporting, which would require him to outspeed human reaction time. So we will break his speed into two categories, travel speed and combat speed. Starting with travel speed since it is simpler, let us look at the main example. When Nolan abandoned his post on Earth, he traveled to Thraxa in a week, which was stated to be far away. Unfortunately, we don't know how far away, since the only thing we know about Thraxa is that it is in the Virgo supercluster. However, a supercluster is just a group of galaxies, and the Milky Way is actually a part of the Virgo supercluster. So we will give a lowball estimate and a reasonable highball estimate. For a lowball estimate, if we assume that Nolan traveled to our nearest star system, Alpha Centauri, which is 4.37 light years away, then reaching that in only a week, he would have had to travel 228 times the speed of light. On the high end, if we assume he traveled the distance of the diameter of the entire Milky Way, which is about 106,000 light years, then he would have had to travel over 5.5 million times the speed of light. Combat speed is a lot less direct to find out for reasons I listed earlier, so we are going to have to use another lowball and highball as well. On a very egregious lowball, we can assume that he fights at the speed of sound, considering he couldn't catch Cecil, and the Immortal managed to tag him when he was only moving Mach 3. However, I understand how this is very underwhelming compared to scenes shown later within the story. So be very mindful for anyone who takes this to heart. On the highball end, we can say that he fights at the speed of light, considering that they are significantly slower than their travel speed. However, their reaction time does actually match their max travel speed, as well as they commonly react to other relative characters when flying, as they commonly use their bodies as projectiles in combat. Nolan's durability is very simple to find out, since it is stated that if they had messed up when attempting to have destroyed Viltrum, then they would have died. This could mean a few things, but it goes to show that they could not have individually survived the energy it would have taken to destroy the entire planet on their own. Which means Nolan's durability on the low end is the value we calculated for his strength earlier, and on the high end being slightly less than the energy it would have taken to destroy the entire planet alone. If you haven't been able to tell by now, Nolan is incredibly strong, and as of the characters I have power scaled so far, he is one of the strongest ones. Honestly, if you grant him all the highball estimates, you could probably put him within the Saiyan saga of DBZ, and he would have been helpful or problematic to the Z Warriors depending on what side he was on. So clearly I hold him in high regards, as well as I just really like the show so far. They've been doing really well, and I hope this trend continues within the future. But that is really all I have for you today. If you made it this far, make sure to like and subscribe, as that would mean a lot to me. And if you agree or disagree or would just like to add anything, please feel free to comment below, as I would love to see it. With all that out the way, I hope you all have a great day, and peace out.